Have you ever stopped to think about what it actually takes to get clean, safe water flowing from your tap? It's definitely not magic. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the entire life cycle of a water treatment system, from the very first blueprint to the installation, and all the way through the long-term care that keeps it all working perfectly. So, what does it really take? Well, I can tell you it's a whole lot more than just sticking a filter on a pipe and hoping for the best. To truly guarantee clean water, you need a whole process, a complete system that's built to work not just on day one, but for years and years. So let's dive into what that process looks like. Here's the game plan for today. We're going to start with the blueprint. That's the super important planning stage. Then we'll get into the hands-on installation, the day-to-day monitoring, the essential checkups, and finally, how to make sure your system is ready for the future. By the time we're done, you'll see the whole picture. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the blueprint. You know, just like building a house, a great water treatment system starts long before you even touch a single pipe. It all begins with a really solid plan. The first thing you've got to do, no exceptions, is a complete site assessment. And why is that so critical? Because you can't possibly solve a problem if you don't fully understand it first. Every single water source out there has its own unique mix of chemicals and microbes. It's like a fingerprint. If you try to use a one-size-fits-all solution, you're just setting yourself up for failure. You need real data. And this is where it gets interesting. Professionals will measure a bunch of key things. They'll look at turbidity, which is really just a fancy way of saying how cloudy the water is. They'll check for microbial indicators to see if there are any nasty bacteria. They'll measure hardness, the minerals that can build up and clog your pipes. They analyze the whole chemical soup. And this one's huge. They see how all of this stuff changes with the seasons. Because believe me, the water you have in the spring can be totally different from what you get in the fall. And that really gets to the heart of why all that data is so important. A smart design doesn't just plan for a perfect sunny day. No way. It plans for the absolute worst-case scenario. When you build a system that can handle your water on its worst day, you're creating something that's truly tough, something that won't fail you when you need it the most. Okay, let's move on to section 2, installation. This is where the blueprint becomes a reality. And let me tell you, precision is everything here. The whole install and commissioning part really breaks down into 3 vital stages. First up is the layout, making sure every pipe, every fitting, every bit of filter media is exactly where it needs to be. Second, you have to do some serious testing, checking flow rates, disinfectant levels, filtration, making sure it all works as designed. And finally, you've got the safety checks, making sure every alarm, every shutoff valve is working perfectly. There's a line from the source material that just hits the nail on the head here. Even small errors can compromise treatment efficiency or lead to leaks and pressure losses. It's a powerful reminder that when it comes to installation, you just don't have a lot of room for mistakes. So, what's the big takeaway? You have to document everything. The results from that initial commissioning, that first round of tests, that becomes the system's official baseline. You can think of it like a birth certificate for its performance. Every single checkup from that day forward will be compared against that initial perfect state. Which brings us right into section 3, the daily watch. Okay, so the system's installed, it's running, you're done, right? Not even close. Now the real work begins. This is all about the consistent daily attention that keeps the system running just right. It really comes down to 2 completely different mindsets. On one hand, you've got proactive monitoring. This is the smart way to do it. It's stable, it's safe, it's cost-effective, because you're spotting little trends before they turn into big, ugly failures. The other option? Reactive repair. That's just waiting around for something to break. And that path? Well, it's risky, it's expensive, and it can mean serious downtime and even contamination. Not good. So why do we care so much about keeping detailed records? It's not about creating busy work, I promise. These records are basically your system's health diary. They let you see how things are trending over time, which means you can jump on problems way faster. They help you keep track of everything, and they make sure you're totally ready for any compliance checks or audits. Okay, next up, section 4, maintenance. If monitoring is the daily watch, you can think of maintenance as the scheduled, absolutely essential checkup that keeps the whole system in peak condition. A really solid maintenance plan is all about having a predictable schedule. Different parts have different needs, right? So, for example, your filter media needs to be checked or replaced based on the original design. Your sensors and gauges, they need to be calibrated regularly to stay accurate. And your pumps and valves have to be checked on a set schedule to make sure they're still working right. It's all about having a structured routine. Ugh, And if your system uses any kind of chemicals, that adds a whole other layer of really critical maintenance. You've got to be constantly watching the dosing accuracy, checking for clogs in the lines, and making sure all those chemicals are being stored and handled safely. You can't slack on that stuff. And that brings us to our final section, future-proofing your system. Because a truly great system isn't just about how well it works today, it's about being ready for whatever challenges tomorrow might bring. A huge part of future-proofing is having a written troubleshooting plan. What do you do if the power goes out? What's the protocol if there's a sudden contamination event? Figuring out the steps before it happens is what turns a potential crisis into just a minor hiccup. And of course, no system is set in stone. To stay effective, it has to be able to evolve. That means you need to be thinking about future upgrades. Maybe that's adding new tech to make it more reliable, or maybe it's adapting to meet tougher new regulations that come down the line. So, after all that, we land on this one crucial question. It's not just about, is my water clean today? It's about whether the entire system, from its initial design to its maintenance plan to how it prepares for the future, is truly resilient. So ask yourself, is your water system ready for whatever comes next?